One warm summer day at Miss Dee Dee's rescue ranch, Miss Dee Dee was feeding her 6 adorable rescue puppies: Lizzie, Sissy, Roscoe, Jasper, Natasha, and Daisy. Miss Dee Dee loved her rescue puppies very much. She fed them and groomed them. She disciplined them when necessary and made them take naps when they got tired. All 6 puppies loved to play. Lizzie and Roscoe's favourite game was wrestling. Sissy and Natasha loved to hunt and chase, while Jasper preferred to play with a ball. But what about Daisy? As they grew older, Miss Dee Dee knew she had to find these puppies loving, forever homes before new pups arrived at the rescue. Every day, different families would come by, hoping to rescue one of her pups. The first family to arrive was enchanted with Lizzie and Roscoe's playful wrestling and quickly agreed to take both of them home. But what about Daisy? The second family brought a ball for the puppies to play with. Jasper was the first to run and fetch the ball. "He's our new teammate," cried the children excitedly. But what about Daisy? Finally, a mother came by with a squirming toddler and 2 very loud and lively twin boys just as Sissy and Natasha were chasing a squirrel through the grass. The boys took off after the puppies, running and shouting, while the baby giggled and clapped her hands. 2 more of Miss Dee Dee's puppies had found the perfect home. But what about Daisy? Miss Dee Dee was always a little sad to see her little ones go, but she knew they belonged in their loving forever homes. But what about Daisy? Miss Dee Dee waited patiently, day after day, for a family to rescue Daisy. But no one came. "What about Daisy?" she said sadly. "Daisy has beautiful brown spots, little floppy ears, and the sweetest disposition. I thought everybody would love her." Miss Dee Dee sighed as she walked over to Daisy, who was rolling in the wet grass. "Daisy, dear, no one has come to rescue you." Daisy didn't reply. Miss Dee Dee called her name again and again. "Daisy! Daisy! Daisy!" But still Daisy didn't respond. Miss Dee Dee was worried. "Daisy doesn't hear me," she cried. Just then, 2 little fairies with big, beautiful wings of purple and gold appeared to Miss Dee Dee. "We are Bella and Bever," said the fairies. "We are Daisy's guides. Daisy was born blind and deaf. She cannot see or hear you." Miss Dee Dee began to cry. "Why did this happen? What will happen to her? What about Daisy?" "Please don't cry," the fairies soothed. "You are very lucky. Daisy is a special and wonderful puppy, and you are the best rescue mother Daisy could ever have. You love her exactly as she is." "But what if I can't find Daisy her forever home, as I have for the rest of the puppies? What if no one else will see how wonderful she is? I'm so afraid," Miss Dee Dee said. "Of course you are," said the fairies. "But your love for Daisy will make you strong. Trust yourself and Daisy to be brave. Daisy needs a very special family. Let us help you find them." Miss Dee Dee was filled with new hope. "Tell me what I need to do," she said, wiping away her tears. "Tell me, what about Daisy?" The fairies fluttered delightedly. "Nudge her gently with your nose, so she knows you are here," said Bella. "Then close your eyes, and in your mind tell Daisy to follow your scent," said Bever. So Bella, Beva, Miss Dee Dee and Daisy all began the journey to find Daisy her special home. At the first house they came to, there were 3 children and a dog playing in the front yard. "Excuse me," said Miss Dee Dee, "would you please help me find a special home for my Daisy?" The children noticed Daisy's eyes looked different. "Ew, what's wrong with her eyes? She's funny looking," said one child. "She's scary looking," said another, and they ran into the house laughing. Miss Dee Dee's head drooped at hearing the children's unkind words. "What about Daisy?" she said softly to herself. "Hey, don't pay any attention to them," said a purring cat voice as a 3-legged cat walked up. "The name's Louie. I know all about being teased because I'm different too." "How do you do?" said Miss Dee Dee. "My name is Miss Dee Dee, and this is my pup, Daisy, and her fairy guides, Bella and Beva. We are looking for a very special family to take care of my Daisy." Daisy picked up Louie's unfamiliar scent and quickly introduced herself with a big sloppy kiss. "Pleased to meet you," Louie muttered as he washed Daisy's kiss off his face. Daisy's tail wagged excitedly. She loved making new friends. When Louie felt suitably clean once again, he said, "My family taught me that everyone is important. All of us deserve to be loved, even 3-legged cats and blind and deaf dogs. But what about Daisy?" Louie said, looking at Daisy. "I know just the right family to rescue her. Follow me, ladies," he said, as the small parade continued their journey. They passed all kinds of people, young and old, families with big kids and families with small kids. Some people had dogs and some people had cats. Some wore different clothes and some spoke different languages. Everybody seemed to be special in some way. Would they ever find Daisy's own special family? What about Daisy? The little group walked on and on. By the time they reached a busy shopping district, Daisy had had enough. She dropped exhausted onto the pavement and refused to go on. But a busy sidewalk was no place to rest. What now? What about Daisy? Just then, Bruce, a shop owner, ran over, calling, "Louie, how are you, old friend? And who's this you brought with you?" Bruce leaned down to pat Daisy, while Louie meowed his hello and rubbed his head against the shop owner's leg. Bruce then turned to Louie. "Hey, buddy, I have your usual tuna delight waiting for you inside. Come along and bring your friends." But Daisy hadn't heard the man's friendly offer. Louie and Miss Dee Dee looked at the fairies. "What about Daisy?" they said in unison. "Trust," said the fairies. The shop owner went back inside the shop, calling to his wife. "Maddie, Maddie, come quickly, we have visitors. Louie is back and brought some friends. I'll get them water and treats." A beautiful lady in a wheelchair came from the back of the shop and rolled to the doorway. Louie sat on the sidewalk, meowing loudly. Said Maddie. "You're trying to tell me something, Louie." She sat quietly for a few minutes, watching the little group intently, until her husband returned with 3 bowls of water and a bowl of delightfully smelly fish parts. When Bruce placed the bowls on the ground, Daisy's nose started twitching. Louie and Miss Dee Dee nudged Daisy towards the bowls. Daisy and Louie started eating and drinking eagerly. Maddie leaned over to look more closely at Daisy. "Daisy looks special to me," she said to her husband. "She looks blind, and it seems as if she cannot hear us either. Maybe that is what Louie is trying to tell us." When the animals had finished their meal, Maddie put her hand under Daisy's nose, stroked her gently, and coaxed Daisy into her lap. Daisy fell asleep instantly. "Daisy can't see me or hear," said Maddie, "but she knows I'm special too. This is her way of telling me that we belong together." The fairies flew over to Daisy and whispered in her ear, "We will always be with you. Just say our names and we will appear." Louis meowed his goodbye and Miss Dee said her thanks. Maddie and the shop owner waved and said, "We'll take good care of her." As Louis, Miss Dee and the two little fairies made their way home, Miss Dee said, "Thank you, Louis, for your help, and thank you, Bella and Bever, for your loving guidance." "You're welcome," said Louis. "It's because of her we shared this grand adventure." "You're right," said Miss Dee. "Daisy really is special."